loop. I'm in an infinite loop.
Two ways to think about music, all right? Form and substance. And here are my little definitions here that I thought were very exciting. Substance is the inner stuff or essence of any music or art, and form is the way or manner in which that inner stuff is presented. Okay? And, a lot of the things that people tend to think of when they think of music, I think, have to do mainly with form, with the way that inner stuff is like presented, as music. So things like notes, scales, tempo markings, key signatures, time signatures, beats per minute, chord progressions, modulations, arrangements, sound quality, instrumentation, song structure, vocal range, rhyme scheme, genre, sounding professional. All these things are form. Substance is actually more important than form, but the form is like the way that stuff gets out there. So like ideally, all these elements of form, like they'll be awesome, and they'll be awesome because they will like transmit some kind of substance, But the reason that substance is more important than form is because like that's the inner stuff, So like if a person has to get something out there, like that stuff they have to get out, that's the substance, And like the reason they practice their instrument is because they want to get good enough at the formal aspects of things to like actually allow that inner stuff that needs to get out to like, be audible, to be listenable, So this like meant a lot to me because like, I don't know, like I think when I was a kid, I thought almost, or primarily at least in terms of form, I was a real big chord progressions kind of guy. I was just, I just thought in those terms. So like Genesis was my favorite band by far because like they had the coolest chords. And, I still think they have pretty cool chords. But substance is something that was a little harder to figure out because I don't know. I don't know if I could. I just don't think I quite thought in those terms back then. I certainly had emotions and I thought about things and things were important to me, but I'm not sure if all those synapses quite connected at that point in my life. You know what I mean? I think now though as a listener, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still interested in like form and stuff like that and like technique and stuff like that. But the older I get, the more I have to be in line, aligned with an artist's like substance, Like I don't mean that they have to have the same worldview that I do, but like whatever that stuff is that they're communicating, like it has to like resonate with me. And when folks talk about stuff like shredding or like, oh man, that band's so tight, they're so tight, I'm like, you're talking about stuff that just isn't all that important. Okay, so substance is greater than form, but form is pretty cool too. And I want to add a third category though. All right, I'm going to call it super substance. And this is just this is like addressing a frustration I have, but like it'd be nice to say like, okay, so like music with substance, like maybe in a certain sense it should be deep, you know what I mean? I'm going to hesitate a little bit while saying that because like a lot of times deep stuff is trying too hard to be deep, so it's like actually not succeeding on any level at all. But like let's say it actually is kind of deep, right? Stuff with substance has like depth to it, right? It's frustrating because like you might think that okay, like the best people, like the deepest, most significant people have the ability to create stuff with the greatest substance. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's actually true, Like, and I think, like, I mean, listen, there are plenty of non-musicians out there who just fool around and they have like, great depths within themselves. They're substantive people, but like, they're just not musicians, right? And like, listen, hair metal as a genre is pretty low in substance, but like, I'm sure a lot of those individuals are solid guys, with a great deal of depth to them, But what frustrates me about like certain music that I listen to and I'm like, oh man, that's really something, is when you sort of find out that like the actual artist in their actual life can't like, isn't the person they like seem to suggest in the song, And it's not really because they're being a phony. Like, I don't mean that. It's just because like, maybe there's a certain aspect of them this thing they got out there, and it's significant and it's meaningful. But still, when you find out other stuff, about them, it shouldn't like impact the way you listen to the music. But like you're still like, come on, like really, like something seems off there. So I think like for music to like attain greater heights, like I think an artist's first job, if they're, let's say they're talented and they're finding a way to make significant stuff, I think like their task should not be necessarily to practice more. It should be to like improve themselves, to get better, to like better themselves, because I think that's going to make their substance truer. I'm going to call that super substance, because I think at a certain point, like the artist's main goal is to like make their own personal journey and like, not just rely on the music they're making, but aim for a more complete transformation. So that's my discussion on form and substance. And I don't know that I'm qualified to actually make this video, but honestly, it's extraordinarily important to me, this distinction, this idea, these ideas. So there you have it. All right, folks. Bye-bye.